All right, here we go. So welcome back. We got 7 games in the books tonight, and it feels like who's going to make the playoffs is becoming more and more clear, both in the North and in the West tonight. I think we got some clarity in terms of who's making it and who's not. We're kind of like, well, maybe there's a chance. No. And we're going to start off with the game that shows, and again, I want to start off by saying Ottawa's playing very well. Ottawa's absolutely playing very well. Also, Vancouver, tired, really making some poor decisions on the ice. And part of what happens with this, it's like early in the season. The Canucks had a lot of games in a short period early in the season with the schedule. They played more games than everybody else. They didn't have the practice time to sort of figure things out. And once the schedule slowed down and they had that practice time to figure things out, things started getting better. We're now into a situation where there isn't any. There isn't any practice time. So for Ottawa, it's a good win tonight. For Vancouver, it's another loss. And now for me, I pivot quickly towards, okay, so how's the draft lottery going to work out? It looks like right now I'm going to have 2 teams I cheer for potentially in the draft lottery. I had none last year. So, once again, the draft lottery becomes interesting. Back with the bucket hat then, right? The Canucks bucket hat and the flying V for another year. I had a year off from that. Now it's going to come back. So it was Hogberg versus Demko. The early chances were there for the Canucks, but on their first shot, Ottawa scores, and it's Mete. Great goal by Mete as well. Formenton and Pinto with the assists at 2 minutes and 4 seconds. Victor Mete, I'm very glad he's found a home with Ottawa. I've always liked him as a defenseman. It just wasn't working out in Montreal. Demko then made a save on a Connor Brown chance. The Senators press at 7 minutes. Very good game by them all the way through. Senators press, and then McEwen had a fight with Tkachuk. Tkachuk was on the way to a pretty big night. The Canucks get a power play. That was just a no. Demko denied Stützle. Hogberg, sharp in this game. Not tested a ton early, but sharp when he was. Senators press again with 5.5 minutes left. Tkachuk had a chance. That was stopped. Late in the period, there's a power play for the Senators. That was a no. But it's 1-0 Ottawa after 1. Early in the second is where this game just gets out of control. Tierney from Chabot at 38 seconds. Canucks a step behind, making big mistakes. Whether you want to blame Miller, whether you want to blame Hughes, it's fine, because then they score again. It's Norris from Tkachuk at 1 minute and 10 seconds. They said the Canucks called the timeout. I don't know. Anyways, Tierney then almost gets another right after that, so whatever was said didn't really seem to make a huge difference. Besser then had a chance that was turned aside. Tyler Myers would break the shutout from Ulevi and Hoglander at 5:43. But less than a minute after that, the 3-goal lead's restored. It's Chabot from Paul and Formenton at 6 minutes and 38 seconds. So Formenton with a couple of helpers tonight. Virtanen, however, would answer from Mott at 7:23, and Mott stole the puck behind the net from Hogberg. So it makes it 4-2. Before the period's out, Tkachuk scores from Batherson and Brandstrom at 16:13. So Tkachuk has an assist here. He has a fight here. He has a goal here. It's a Gordie Howe hat trick, boys and girls. And Brady Tkachuk has really come into his own this year. Oh, and he's an RFA this summer. So we'll see what that qualifies him to get. He's actually putting up better numbers than his brother Matthew is to this stage of the season. So Brady Tkachuk has really emerged as a really solid power forward for the Ottawa Senators. Third period, early jump for the Senators. Pinto almost gets one. There were too many Canucks on the ice. Senators get a power play. Canucks get a power play shortly after that. There was a shorthanded 2-on-1 for Ottawa. Demko makes the save. In fact, there were a number of shorthanded opportunities there. Aggressive penalty kill and a poor power play by Vancouver. They pulled the goalie with 7 minutes left. They'd put him back in and take him out again. But yeah, with the empty netter, it's White at 14:33. That made it 6-2. Sutter scores at 17:43 to make it 6-3. But that's your final. Vancouver drops to 19-21-3. For the Senators, they're 19-27-4. So they pass Vancouver in points. Vancouver has all these games in hand, but they're all together, and most of them are against Toronto and Edmonton. So yeah, Ottawa may have passed them for the rest of the season. Again, be interesting to see when it comes to the draft lottery where Vancouver ends up. And again, I don't... And I saw people online saying, well, maybe it's time to get rid of Travis Green. The same people that a week ago were saying after the wins over Toronto, they got to extend Green. Got to make up your mind, people. So the shots in this one favor Ottawa the whole way. 11-10 in the first, 12-6 in the second, 10-5 in the third. Final shots 33-21 Ottawa. Vancouver 0 for 2, Ottawa 0 for 3. Demko 27 saves on 32 shots. Hochberg 19 saves on 22 shots. And it's done. So we'll see how things go for Vancouver. All I'm concerned with now, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't want to see a situation where somebody ends up with a bad injury from being overplayed. And I hope that Green starts rotating guys in and out of the lineup. Just because it is a lot of games in a short period of time. And you don't want to do anything now that's going to affect the ability of a player coming back in October where you're getting into next season. So we'll see how things go. St. Louis. Boy, now, I was going to wear a Blues jersey tonight until the Ducks won. And I thought, you know what? The Ducks don't win very many games, so I'm going to wear a Ducks jersey. But Blues, this is the St. Louis Blues team that, I kind of expected out of the gate. Where I said, okay, so you've got Colorado, Vegas, and St. Louis are your three top teams, and Minnesota probably gets fourth in the division. St. Louis right now looks like that team that I had expected out of the gate. And at times they've looked like that team, and at times they haven't. But it's Binnington versus Talbot, Spurgeon's 700th game tonight. Wild were pressing at 3 minutes. Kyrou then had a break. He was denied by Talbot. Jordan Kyrou's been playing very well lately. The numbers don't really show it. Tonight he gets that next goal, and we'll see whether or not that starts him on a hot streak down the stretch. Bozak fires one wide. The shots were 6-2 for the Blues at the half. Talbot was the one keeping it scoreless early. Hartman took a puck on the skate right off the laces. He exited the ice for a bit there. Binnington denied Dumba. More saves by Talbot. It looked like it might be a goalie battle until Brodin scores from Foligno and Greenway at 17:47, and then Fiala almost made it 2-0 right after that. So it's 1-0 Minnesota after one. Second period, early, 32 seconds, Eriksson Ek from Greenway, 2-0 Minnesota. And Minnesota defensively is pretty solid, so that 2-0 lead had to have you thinking, all right, so I guess Minnesota's going to get this tonight. Blues press at 3 minutes. Spurgeon blasted one wide when they went the other way. The Wild would press back at 7 minutes. Talbot denied Blais. The Blues get a power play. Remember when the Blues power play wasn't any good? They don't. Hoffman scores from Tarasenko and Perron at 10:27. Blues then push for the tie. But Foligno gets the goal from Dumba at 11:29. And it felt like, the pressure was coming back for St. Louis, and now it's 3-1 instead in favor of Minnesota. So I'll probably do it. I kept thinking, so that's probably going to be it. Screenshot 2 there by Foligno. So he gets up to 10 on the season. Pretty good season for Marcus Foligno. Kaprizov line then pressed after that. Kaprizov kept off the board, so Stars fans will be happy about that, the Robertson supporters. Foligno line then forced a Blues penalty. So things are going well. Last minute, there was a press by the Blues, but we go to the third. Minnesota's up 3-1. Just got to bring it home. Early jump was for the Blues. The entire period was a jump for the Blues. Power play for them, and they score. It's Hoffman from Perron and Krug at 3 minutes and 49 seconds. So Hoffman with a couple of power play goals tonight. Wild then tried to answer. Blues were playing with that desperate hockey I've been looking at from them for a while, and it's finally started to show up over their last 3 games here. Soucy then gets a prime chance. However, Thomas forces a turnover, gets it over to Kyrou, and at 7:41, that ties the game. Hoffman then had a shot that was caught by Talbot as Hoffman was going for the hat trick, and he really did. Krug then broke up a Kaprizov chance. Hartman was then robbed shortly thereafter. The Blues had chances with 3 minutes left, and eventually it works out. Brodin with a turnover, and the Blues would make him pay. Thomas from Hoffman and Kyrou at 19:37. Now, Thomas made sure Brodin didn't get the puck. So the fact they awarded 2 assists, I thought, well, I guess Brodin didn't have it, but it was a nice play by Thomas to make sure he didn't get it. And so, to me, I qualified that as kind of a turnover. But, again, at the point where I wrote this on the board, Thomas had a goal. There weren't any assists, and then later they awarded assists. Whether or not they take them away again, it really isn't a big deal. People try to correct me on some of the scoring stuff, like I'm going to come back and redo the reviews or something. Again, these aren't official NHL stats. It's not like there's somebody at the NHL head office going, oh, hey, let's change that goal back because the hockey guy does. No. So the St. Louis Blues win this game 4-3. And that goal with 23 seconds left, that's one of those goals you look back on and say, that's where we got into the playoffs. So St. Louis goes to 22-19-6. Minnesota drops to 31-14-3. And due to what else happened in this division tonight, yeah, St. Louis is absolutely in the driver's seat. They should be the number 4 seed. Shots 13-10 St. Louis in the first, 16-7 Minnesota in the second, and then in the third, it's like Minnesota ran out of shots. The final period, shots were 12-3 for St. Louis, and they actually lead in the shots 32-29 by the end of this. Power plays, St. Louis 2 for 2. Minnesota only had the one opportunity, didn't score on it. Bennington 26 saves on 29 shots. Talbot 28 saves on 32 shots. Remember, St. Louis has won 3 out of 4 against Minnesota now, which means they play them 4 more times down the stretch. So for Minnesota, their dreams of finishing second are still technically there, but yeah, they're kind of taking a bit of a hit. So we'll see. All right, next up. Toronto, I at no point did I say anything about Toronto needing to panic coming out of those 2 games against Vancouver. And since those 2 games against Vancouver, they've looked pretty good. The reality being they looked pretty good in those games against Vancouver as well. Early on, the Leafs get a power play and they score on it. It's Nylander, the power play marker, from Marner and Riley at 1:38. And that was the first shot faced by Jake Allen. So that's the kind of start you want if you're the Leafs, not the kind of start you want if you're Montreal. And remember, right now, this would be the matchup in the first round. It looks like it will be the matchup in the first round. Toronto fans probably feeling pretty confident about that right now. Kerfoot then misses one during a 3-on-1. It looked like the refs were letting things go at that stage, but kind of like they were letting some things go and then calling others. So the Habs get a power play. That was a no. After that power play was done, Matthews adds another goal to his league-leading total. On their 4th shot of the game from Foligno and Riley at 8:44. So Morgan Riley with a couple of helpers. Foligno on the board again. He's got to be enjoying his time in Toronto. Leafs press at the half. Anderson then missed a prime chance the other way. Matthews had a break. Allen makes the save. Good start for Campbell. Again, Campbell's a decent goaltender for all of the doubt that was running around, a week and a half ago? He's turned his numbers around. Second period, I just chuckle because it gets kind of ridiculous. Second period, Leafs get a power play. That was a no. It must be nice to panic when your team's first in the division. Just throwing that out there. So, shorthanded shots. Campbell makes the saves, and then the Leafs score. It's Muzzin from Spezza and Thornton at 6 minutes and 27 seconds. And hey, that's 1,100 assists for Joe Thornton. It's a lot of assists. That's a lot of assists. That's too many assists. Should maybe hand some off to somebody else on the team. I don't know. And for Spezza, I think that puts him like an assist behind Maurice Richard, or point behind Maurice Richard. Anyways, a lot of points for Spezza and Thornton. Leafs press at 8.5 minutes. The Habs would hit a post with around 9 minutes left. And then Suzuki breaks the shutout in the second period from Petrie and Edmondson at 15-15. The Leafs would try to answer after that, but they emerged from the second period with a 3-1 lead. And looking pretty comfortable. They looked like a first-place team tonight. Third period, back and forth play early. Habs would get a power play. The Habs wanted it to be a double minor. It wasn't happening. Caulfield had a chance. He shoots wide. Campbell made some saves. Evans had a chance there. Brooks, who's been good since he went into the lineup, he scores from Spezza and Hall at 8 minutes and 15 seconds. So Spezza with a couple of helpers. Leafs then get a power play. Marner would fire one high. Tavares had an 8-game point streak coming into tonight. It ends tonight. So I think he's fine with that because they win 4-1. They go to 31-13-5. Montreal drops to 21-18-9. We'll see how it goes. I don't see Calgary or Vancouver, definitely not Vancouver. I don't see Calgary catching them. Calgary does have some games left against Vancouver, who are very tired. So maybe. Montreal, 11-7 were the shots in their favor in the first, 13-11 in their favor in the second, 11-8 Toronto's favor in the third. Final shots, 32-29 for Montreal. Power plays, Toronto 1 for 3, Montreal 0 for 2. Campbell saved 29 out of 30, and Allen saved 25 out of 29. So, yeah, pretty good night if you're a Leafs fan. You got to feel pretty comfortable. They clinched a playoff spot tonight as well with that victory. And, yeah, so for Toronto, things are pretty good. Montreal's pretty close to clinching at least a playoff spot as well. But, yeah, we'll see how it goes for them. Now, I need to change boards. All right, Edmonton. So there's two teams right now that look like they're geared up for the playoffs. There are two teams in the North that look like they are ready to play in the playoffs. Toronto and Edmonton. Now, that is different than actually playing in the playoffs. It is possible that Winnipeg and Montreal, because again, that familiarity these teams are going to have with each other, it's important both ways, right? So this may be a year where we see some underdog wins based on familiarity. We also could see Edmonton just absolutely blow the doors off Winnipeg. This looks like it's going to be the first round matchup. And as of tonight, the Oilers have now won 6 in a row against the Jets. They have no problem beating the Jets. It was Koskinen versus Hellebuck. So you got to be looking at this going, well, it's Koskinen who's not got the same numbers as Smith. So that's got to favor the Jets. No. And Hellebuck wasn't really victimized by the Oilers tonight the way he had been in his previous couple of starts. And yet, here we are. McDavid's first chance was stopped. McDavid doesn't get a goal tonight, but he gets a bunch of helpers. Koskinen then denied Stastny. Jets press at 5 minutes. The shots were 4 apiece at 8 minutes. Power play for the Oilers. It was a very dangerous power play before it scored. And I was like, they're going to get one. Barrie gets one from McDavid and Nugent-Hopkins at 10:52. It was 1-0 Oilers after 1, and they looked really good. Second period, Wheeler would score from Kopp at 4 minutes and 29 seconds. But the Oilers would get a 4-minute power play. Don't give the Oilers a 4-minute power play because they score on it. It's Nugent-Hopkins from Barrie and McDavid at 6:20. So the same suspects as in the first period, just in a different order in terms of who got the goal and who got the assists. Shorthanded chance then for Appleton during the second half of that 4-minute minor, I should say, double minor. And the second penalty was killed off, but the damage is done. It's 2-1 for the Oilers. Koskinen was the one keeping it 2-1 as well, making some really big saves on the Jets later on in that period. Oilers would press with 6.5 minutes left, and really tight defense by the Oilers through the first 40 minutes, not really giving the high-flying Jets much of a look at anything, much of a chance at anything. This is a team that can take that Jets offense and just turn it right off. Third period, no shots at all in the first 3.5 minutes, which had to make the Oilers really happy. Koskinen was also making some nice poke checks when the Jets were getting in close. Kopp had a chance that was stopped. There was a 2-on-1 for the Oilers. Hellebuck made a save there. Yamamoto blasts one wide. The shots were 9-4 for the Jets with 9 minutes left. They just couldn't get that goal. Hellebuck was better in this one, just not getting the goal support. Morrissey had a shot that was kicked to the corner by Koskinen. 4:47 left. The Jets get a power play, but that penalty kill for the Oilers just didn't give them anything. And that was their first power play and only power play of the game. So the Oilers not taking penalties, playing a clean game. Yamamoto then got a break out of the box. That was denied by Hellebuck. Goalie pull around 2 minutes left, and eventually they get the empty netter. It's Draisaitl from McDavid and Nurse at 19:51. So McDavid with 3 points. He's now, 16 points away from 100 with 8 games left? Yeah, no, we're getting to that stage where, yeah, this is doable. They're 29, 16, and 2. So, or that's 9 games left. Oh, yeah, you can do that. So, yeah, with the games against Winnipeg, and he's got games against Vancouver coming up, McDavid probably hits 100. Act surprised when it happens. The Jets, 27, 19, and 3. And I'm saying that before people come in to say, well, it's because he's in the North. If he was in the Central, he wouldn't get 100. Sure. Okay, fine. Shots in this one, 10-6 Oilers in the first, 10-9 Oilers in the second, 15-8 Winnipeg in the third. Just couldn't solve Koskinen. Final shots actually favor Winnipeg 30-28. The Oilers go 2 for 3 on the power play. Winnipeg 0 for 1. Koskinen 29 saves on 30 shots, played very well. Hellebuck did as well, 25 saves on 27 shots. But yeah, so the Oilers have basically clinched second. They're still in the hunt for first, and I think they have 2 games in hand on Toronto. But I don't see it happening, but again, we'll see. With the Oilers, it's been an impressive run. Colorado. So the Abs, and it was mentioned about 15 times during this game, they've got 10 guys out of the lineup between the protocol list and players who've been injured, and, Byron's out, and Rantanen's out, and da-da-da-da. Okay, I get it, but they did mention it a lot, and I understand why. Because 10 seconds into this game, Vegas makes it clear this is going to be a big game for us. It's the fastest they've ever scored a goal to start a game. It's William Karlsson from Pietrangelo and Martinez at 10 seconds. And obviously it's the first shot on Dubnyk, and it goes in the net. So Nice one by Carlson. They were wearing their gold jerseys. Love the gold jerseys. Avs then tried to answer. Vegas would get a power play. That was a no. Landeskog had a chance that goes wide. Stone chipped one right over the bar. And then Colorado does tie it as Devon Toews from Soderberg at 13:43. The Avs then get a power play. Burakovsky fires one high. There was a shorthanded chance for Janmark. Power play then for Vegas, but it's 1-1 after one. So we go to the second. Early Avs power play. That was a no. Graves had a chance that was turned aside. The shots were 6-0 for the Avs at 8 minutes. So the Avs played well at stages of this game. It was kind of the Marc-Andre Fleury show. Vegas then gets a power play and they score on it. It's Pacioretty from Theodore and Stone at 9:36. The only real issue with this team has been the power play. If that really gets things going, Vegas doesn't really have a weakness. And that went in off of Toews' stick. Tuck then had a chance that was saved by Dubnyk. Stevenson was absolutely robbed, and then it goes in. Stone from Stevenson and Pacioretty at 14:39. So that made it 3-1. In the defense of the defense, Toews scores from McKinnon at 17:06. That was on a nice turnover forced by McKinnon, and that brings them closer. It's 3-2. The Avs then get a power play, unsuccessful, but we go to the third again. It's a one-goal game, not for long. 10 seconds in, this one's 55 seconds in. Pacioretty from Stone at 55 seconds. Vegas would press at 4 minutes. They're up by 2, so it gets to be a much tougher hill to climb. The Avs get a power play. They end up with 2 shots during that. Jost nearly got one at the half. Goalie pull with 3 minutes left, and just Marc-Andre Fleury was really solid throughout. Like, Colorado outshot them throughout the game, but Fleury was really good. And then it's an empty net goal from Marchessault at 18:41. So, yeah, 5-2 is your final. That's 10 wins in a row for the Vegas Golden Knights. They're now 35-11-2, and Colorado drops to 31-12-4. So, first place in the division, maybe the first place overall in the league, is kind of settled. And at least it seems like it is. And we'll see how that works out. Shots in this one, as I said, favored Colorado the whole way through. 12-11 in the first, 13-6 in the second, 12-9 in the third. Final shots, 37-26 for the Avs. Power plays, 0-4 for Colorado, 1-4 for Vegas. Dubnyk saved 21 out of 25. Fleury saved 35 out of 37. And so Colorado waiting for the reinforcements to show up. And for Vegas, they're the best team in the West. I will be very interested to see a series between them and St. Louis, though, because St. Louis seems to be heating up. And so, yeah, that could be a really fun series. And I didn't expect that it would be, but right now, yeah, could be a very fun series to watch indeed. Next up, the reason I'm wearing the Ducks jersey, the Anaheim Ducks in against LA in the battle of the freeway battle. But yeah, because these teams are very close to one another. So, Byfield hype is real. Throughout the whole game, there's Byfield hype. I'm going to say this. He doesn't score tonight, but he looks ready. He looks like he belongs in the league. This is where having him in the AHL has probably done a very good job of preparing him for what he needs to do in the NHL, and he looked good. And if he was out there with his normal line mates from the AHL, who knows, right? So, the 90s King jersey was being worn against the orange Ducks jersey, meaning the home team was wearing white. I like that. The shots were 5-4 for LA at 7 minutes. I'm not going to pretend this was the most exciting game of the night, but there was some interest in this, and a lot of it had to do with Byfield. So every time he was on the ice, they'd isolate on him because you kind of have to. Kings get a power play. That was a no. Byfield made a really nice pass to the net. Anderson was robbed in the final minute, and that's Elias Anderson who was playing for the Kings tonight. So it's scoreless after one. Second period, early chances favored the Kings. They would then get a power play, and they score on it as Velarde, who has been on 6 goals forever. Now he's on 7. Moore and Kempe with the assists at 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And they showed again, Byfield generating opportunities. Power play then for the Ducks. During the power play, it's a shorthanded goal for LA because the Ducks power play is terrible. Kempe from Anderson and Roy at 11:01. And then the Kings finished off the kill after that because, of course, they did. Carrick, however, would make it close. Connor Carrick out of nowhere, right? Volkov and Fleury with the assists at 12:53. The Kings then get a power play. That was a no. And Steele scores from Raquel at 16:35 to tie it up, which was kind of an out-of-nowhere goal. So after 2 periods, this game is 2-2. Third period. Ducks get a power play. We then end up with 4-on-4 for 30 seconds, meaning the Kings get the power play after that. Gibson absolutely robbed Byfield of his number one goal there. Another prime chance for him as well moments after that. No Ducks shots in the first 9 minutes. Nothing. So they were just building dramatic tension, right? First shot was Comtois at 9:35, and it was just one of those tricklers. It was easy save. But then Delorier missed an open net. Had to be kicking himself on that. Comtois had a check to the head penalty. I don't think the NHL gets involved, but it was a pretty direct check to the head. So it's exactly the kind of play that the NHL usually hands out fines, like a slap on the wrist for, or a suspension, depending on how they feel that day. So the Ducks would kill that off. The Kings pressed after the penalty ended, but they didn't have a great power play during it. No Kings shots on goal in 8 minutes. So this was not a period that featured a ton of opportunities that actually hit the net. The Ducks shot blocking really well. And then Cam Fowler on what might be the prettiest goal he's ever scored in his career. Fantastic deke and shot. I don't know how many Kings he went through. It felt like he went through all of them. And at 18:59, he scores. So with 1 minute and 1 second left, he scores to make it 3-2. And then they eventually get Peterson out. They struggled to get him out until it was about 35 seconds left. And then last second, who had an opportunity that ends up getting deflected wide? Quentin Byfield. So he's out there in the last minute trying to tie it up, and almost did. The Ducks go to 15-28-7. The Kings drop to 18-23-6. I believe they're now 8 points behind St. Louis. It's done. Shots 9-8 Anaheim in the first, 18-8 LA in the second, 5-4 Anaheim in the third. Final shots 30-22 for the Kings. Power plays Anaheim 0 for 2. Kings 1 for 5. Gibson saves 28 out of 30. He looked good tonight. That's one of the best games I've seen him play in a while. And Peterson 19 saves on 22 shots at the other end. So, yeah, it was an entertaining game. It happened. Speaking of games that happened, how about those Sharks? So, I mean, the idea that the Sharks are taking a run at it, I mean, it depends on how you view this. But they've at the very least, there's one thing that the Sharks have done with these two games. They've really taken the Coyotes out of this. The Coyotes are now 3 points back of the Blues, and the Blues have 3 games in hand. So, yeah. Kane would score from Barabanov and Hurdle at 1:12 on the first shot. So first shot. We had a couple games on the other board that were goals on the first shot. Yep, score first. Your shooting percentage is 100. The Sharks then press at 4 minutes. The shots were 3-2 in favor of the Sharks 7 minutes into this game. Kozanash sharp in the first half. And I thought tonight he was better than he was in his first win as a professional goaltender. And I was surprised to see he was the youngest goaltender to have a win for San Jose at 23 years of age. I guess San Jose hasn't had a lot of really young goaltenders that have had wins. Balcers would then score at 10:06. I love Rudolph's Balcers. Probably my favorite Shark. LeBanc would then score from True and Gregor at 14:08. It's 3-0 in favor of San Jose. They've got to be wishing they played Arizona a lot. And this, again, is why if you looked at Arizona's schedule and you go, they got a couple against the Sharks, they should win that. They play the games, and if you don't win them, well, the easy schedule is not that easy then. Kessel would get them on the board, though, from Schmaltz and Keller at 15:47. So Kessel probably frustrated with this 2-game set against San Jose, but he gets a goal there. And that was during a delayed penalty as well. There was a late power play for the Coyotes, but that leads over into the second period where the Sharks would finish off the kill. There was a press at 2 minutes for the Sharks, but then at 4:40, Johan Larsson gets on the board from Hjalmarsson and Hunt. So it's a 3-2 game in favor of the Sharks. And you're thinking it's probably going to be a really high-scoring game, right? It really wasn't. The Sharks get a power play. Chychrun had a chance that was stopped for Arizona. He doesn't get on the board tonight, but Chychrun was prominent out there. Power play then for the Coyotes. That was once again a no. We go to the third period. The shots were 4-0 for the Sharks 5 minutes into that third period, meaning the Coyotes didn't quite come out with that killer instinct that Rick Tocchet would have wanted them to. Coyotes just couldn't hold the puck in the zone. They couldn't keep any kind of pressure on San Jose. OEL takes a penalty. Sharks get the power play out of that. Then there was some loud swearing going on, and I'm not sure who was doing it, but it was something about the puck and getting the puck up, or I don't And I don't know who was doing the swearing from the volume. It might have been a goaltender, but yeah, it was loud. So I was like, that's pretty clear. And the announcers aren't saying anything either. It's where the announcers go kind of quiet, and they're probably thinking, the crowd totally heard that. Like everybody watching TV's probably heard that, right? Man. So yeah, 30. Then we get 36 seconds of a 5-on-3 for the San Jose Sharks, but it was a good penalty kill. And the Coyotes overall frustrated with how the game was going to this point, which definitely led them to taking some penalties. Sharks blocking out Kessel. Kozanosh making some nice saves late in this game. With 2:16 left, OEL goes back to the penalty box. However, Erik Karlsson. Eventually, they originally thought Evander Kane was getting the penalty. It was actually Erik Karlsson. With 1:26 left, takes the penalty, so it's a 4-on-4. They pull the goalie immediately before that power play starts to make it a 5-on-4, and then it's an empty netter. It's Hurdle with the empty net goal. I just moved that? I probably did. See, that's what happens. Hurdle from Ferraro and Couture at 19:23. So, yeah. San Jose wins this one 4-2. They go to 20, 24, and 5. The Coyotes drop to 21, 24, and 5. So they're only 2 points clear of San Jose now. Shots 13-8 Arizona in the first, 14-10 Arizona in the second, and in the third, San Jose 13-3 were the shots in favor of the Sharks. This is a Coyotes team that in the third checked out. Final shots 31-30 in favor of San Jose. Power plays, both teams go for 4. Darcy Kemper 27 saves on 30 shots. Kozanosh 28 saves on 30 shots. And there you go. So the Sharks win again. And again, for the Coyotes, we're into better luck next year territory. And of course, I always say that as like the Happy Gilmore reference, better luck next year. And then, Happy just starts whooping on the coach. But anyways, there you go. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen around the NHL, but there might be a coach here and there that maybe their players would like to whoop them for the better luck next year comment. All right, let me know your thoughts about any of these games in the comment section below right underneath the video. Always check out the descriptions of the videos too, because people don't do that anymore. But anyways, yeah. So hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for pushing this channel beyond 187,000 subscribers. Channel's gained like over 200 subscribers in the last 24 hours. I don't know. I know YouTube was having an issue with subscriber count problems. It looks like this is probably the result of that being fixed. So, but thank you anyway for 187,000. That's a ridiculous number. And hey, I will talk to you guys again in the morning. And remember, tomorrow we have 10 games. And on Saturday, guys better rest up for Saturday. 15 games this Saturday, 14 the following Saturday. Things are winding up pretty quick here. When you have that day where they have 15 games being played, it's at the end of the season. So, going to be a couple of fun weekends coming up. And that means the power rankings are going to have some pretty dramatic shifts. Maybe, right? Maybe there'll be some dramatic shifts that have already taken place. You guys can't see the board, but there's a couple of moves that have been definitely notable. And maybe by Saturday, some of those teams fall back down or some of them come back up. We'll see. All right. Thank you guys again for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.